to some fireplaces. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 down. With sympathy.
So, good evening, everyone, and welcome back. Haven't done a lot recently because of the World Cup, and tonight we have a new guest, first time, Newcastle United supporter. Steve, how are you?
I'm pretty good, man. Pretty good. Nervous about Poland, but, you know, we move.
Yeah. It's. I'll tell you what, we'll get into that in a minute. Kenny, how are you, mate? Oh, he's frozen.
Oh, poor Kenny.
And I think he's frozen because he's cold. But let's see what's going on. Are you frozen out, Ken?
Jeez. Poor guy. Can't catch a break.
No, it's happens, doesn't it? Anyway, Steve, let's go for it because I'm sure Kenny will be back in a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some bizarre results today. Let's get it right, you know?
Yeah.
And looking at that shirt you're wearing, obviously your team's playing later. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But what did you I can't remember a World Cup like this where there's been so many bizarre results. I mean, Australia beating Denmark. I had Denmark 2-0. Tunisia beating France. What's your take on it?
I mean, I think it was always kind of bound to be a very strange World Cup because of the timing of it and whatnot. So I think maybe that has a part to play in it. But to be honest, yeah, like it honestly, it makes it a lot more entertaining when you go into a game and you don't know what the result's going to be. Aside, there were a few obvious ones, but the fact that, and you know what the crazy part is? The fact that there were so many upsets and they were deserved. Like Australia deserved to beat Denmark today because they performed. They were better than Denmark. Straight up, Denmark have been really, really poor, unlike themselves, honestly. I think that is a part to play in it. And I also just think, Tunisia as well. God damn, they've been hard done by. I mean, they didn't concede to France. They didn't concede to Denmark. And Australia beat them 1-0, and that's it. So, football, yeah, it's a cool game. It's a cool game. I learned that. But, Jesus, I mean, it's just fun to watch. It really is. And hopefully Poland can be one of these beneficiaries of this pandemonium, to be honest. That's the only way I can think of it.
You've got Argentina, haven't you?
Yeah, I think Argentina will win, unfortunately.
I don't know. But
I don't know. I don't either. But we're terrible. That's what I do know.
Bit like Wales, but there we go. Kenny, there's been some very strange results in this World Cup. What's your take on it? Because I mean, some of my predictions in my Super Six pub league have gone completely awry, and I had England to win 2-0, and I knew Wales weren't going to win last night. They were going home, but they won 3-0. But today, Australia won, Denmark 0, Tunisia won, France 0. Now, I actually watched the Tunisia game. What's your take on? Because I think it's bizarre.
Hey, first and foremost, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, just a quick background on what's going on. Sky open reach, absolute waste of time. I was at work, and I found out for the wife, internet's got land getting nagged. So we called Sky, who own Open Reach, and they say 2 to 5 working days. So I suppose we're on our 3rd working day
Yeah.
before anything gets done. So I've got unlimited data on my team EE. So I've been used to working from home off my phone because I can use it. I never run out of data. I think that's a good decision over data. But in terms of the World Cup, it's what I've been saying before. The gap between the alleged smaller nations and the big nations is basically minute now. And by the next World Cup in America, Mexico, and Canada, it's going to be equal pegging. Because let's face it, one of the things about the reason why we're seeing shocks is because a lot of the players, a lot of teams, some of them not playing enough football. You talk about Wales, no respect, but Aaron Ramsey and Gareth Bale are not playing enough football, and it showed. They looked ashamed of themselves, and it wasn't the fact that their age; it's the fact that they're not. Gareth Bale hardly ever plays was at LA. Aaron Ramsey, he's on loan. I don't know who he's on loan with, but he doesn't. I don't hear him play.
Nice in France. Sorry to cut you off.
So that's it. He's in Nice, so he's not getting much game time. So that said, then Joe Allen's struggling for games with Swansea. So there's no doubt that when you play teams like Iran, who basically have got a lot of in terms of like athleticism, you're getting shown up. All the teams with that have got the athletes and can basically have got the sort of power and the technique will win games. Denmark thought what they had to do was turn up and beat Australia.
Yeah.
The minute they couldn't break them down, their heads went down, and then Australia realised that this Danish team isn't that good anyway. Hence the fact you're seeing a lot of shocks. Argentina thought they'll beat Saudi Arabia, but physically Saudi Arabia were too strong for them. And I think that's the thing. To get at group stages, football's changed now to the extent that you know what England used to do to a lot of teams who are better than technically, they had to outrun them. And base in terms of outrun them and base had more power. Now the alleged minnows are doing it to big teams, and I think you have to look at Tunisia today. Tunisia against Denmark, Saudi Arabia against Argentina, Japan outrun Germany, and that's the theme of this World Cup. If you're not fit, you go to play. You carry players, you'll get found out. I don't care what anyone says. You can't carry players, and that's the theme of the tournament.
Yeah, I think it proved it. I was watching. Obviously, I did a watch along with Gracie May last night, the England and Wales, and it just proved to me how poor. To me, Bale and Ramsey are washed up.
Yeah,
they've had their time. They're done. I said on live. I said to me at one point, I said, "Is Ramsey actually on the pitch? Was he actually there? Because I didn't see him for about the first 25 minutes."
We used to say a lot of that when we were at Arsenal. Don't you remember rightly? When he was at Arsenal, we used to say that a lot.
So it's a bit of a joke, really. But I feel sorry for all the Wales fans because they've made a massive journey out there, spent a shitload of dollar, and they're on their way home now. But I hope they had a great time. But England are through. And how far, Kenny, do you think they're going to progress?
Well, the thing about it is that they, like the old adage of taking one game at a time is more relevant now, because what we saw with Senegal, yesterday is physically they got all the attributes to do well in this tournament. Like the heat's not going to bother them. They got. Basically, they got a strong squad and they got a strong spine. The goalie has won a Champions League, and Mendy, I know he's going through a tough time in Chelsea, but a year ago we were calling him one of the best goalkeepers in Europe. So, I saw a little bit of evidence that he's getting back to his best. Then you've got Koulibaly, then you've got a midfield as well. Midfield of players we know about. Most importantly, they're African champions.
Yeah.
So. And, remember, they took out Egypt, albeit on penalties. So they got a calibre, and they're not going to fear England one bit. In England, I'm going to have to play with a lot of pace and power, move the ball quickly. Yes, it's nice to have ballers, but it might not be their game. I mean, Kyle Walker, no matter what you think of him, with the sort of pace that Senegal are going to play with, you've got to play him right back. You have to play him.
Yeah.
You're going to have to play Harry Maguire because he's going to be a physical game with the headers. You're going to have to play, Stones alongside him. And then, you're going to have to move that ball quickly. And the midfield has to be full of beef. You might have to consider playing Henderson for the organisation because you want to need it. Because times when England are going to be under a cosh, times when they're going to have to be defended, and times when they're going to have to put their foot in because these guys ain't messing about, and England have to work hard. They've got to fight against these guys. If you think you're going to play your football and they're going to watch you and admire it because you're England, forget it. They mean business, these guys. They're coming here to go all the way to Senegal. I'm not bigging them up, but if you have to watch the African Cup of Nations, watch their qualifying tournaments, and watch both their games. Games, especially the game yesterday, and you only have to see, they're like against Ecuador. You have to see they're a very, very, very strong side.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think England could catch a cold here. But anyway, Steve,
yeah,
you're out from over the United States, and good point here. I'm going to ask you a 2-point question here. England, how do you see them going forward? And what's your opinion on the United States team?
So I'll start with England. I don't see it, man. I genuinely could see Senegal. Considering what did we start off the show with? Upsets. I just think that I don't see this England team. I feel like Southgate again is going to make the wrong tactical decision or not make a substitute fast enough. I personally don't see it. Harry Kane's not even in form either. I see Senegal dominating that game physically, aerially as well. They've got pace on the break in terms of Ismail Assar. Bouladia, who plays for Salernitana in Italy in Serie A. Good striker. I see Senegal doing something, causing an upset. If I'm completely honest here, whenever I watch England, man, your manager. Ooh. Here's what I'll say about England. Just summarize it short and sweet. The players you have could beat anyone on their day, anyone in the world, no doubt. But the problem is you have a manager who could lose to anyone in the world on his day with the bad decisions he makes. Or it's not even a bad decision. A lot of Southgate's problems is that he doesn't make the decision in time. He reacts, not proactive. You see Pep Guardiola. You see Pep Guardiola in games for Manchester City. If something's not going right, to the average person watching, you'll see it. But guess what? Pep saw something 10 minutes ago before you even saw it, and he's already got the sub on. So as soon as you notice something, the sub's already coming on. 9 times out of 10. That's what the best managers in the world do. Arteta's also getting pretty good at that too. I'm not his biggest fan, but as a neutral. But you know what? He's improving in that. And that's what the top managers do. So that's my take on England. Now, with regards to the United States, I'm very proud. I'm proud of the team. I really, really am. I don't rate our manager not one bit, but he's done all right so far. He's learned that Aaron Long, an average MLS, he's a crap center back. Don't play him. Don't play Jesus Ferreira. He's fine for FC Dallas, whatever. But when he plays the United States, he's not even a true number 9. Josh Sargent in the championship for Norwich City, he does a better job at that. So Greg is learning a little bit, but the problem I have with Greg is it's the same thing with Southgate. When we take a 1-0 lead, we just go and sit back 9 times out of 10. We don't take the game unless we're playing a Martinique or Grenada or a weak CONCACAF side, or if you're playing a San Marino or Albania or a weak European side, you'll sit back at that 1-0 lead and you invite pressure on. And it's a submissive way of playing. It's not brave. And speaking of the upset, and this all ties in with the upsets, what have we noticed about all the upsets so far in the World Cup? One team is braver than the other. One team wanted to take more chances to win the game or get a good result than the other did. One team felt like they were either being underestimated or they needed to show, put some respect on their country. That's what I've noticed. So in terms of the U.S. Netherlands, I just think, again, to be honest, it'll come down to managers. Louis van Gaal, whatever you think of him, it's a better manager than Greg Berhalter. I would trust Van Gaal to make better tactical substitutions, notice where the game is going, make the correct substitutes and whatnot. I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I hope, and honestly, I think the U.S. could play a really good game against the Netherlands, but the end product was lacking. We only put one past you guys, Wales and England. So that's the problem. But we played well. And I saw a comment earlier. It's like, kind of reminds me of Leeds. Leeds play really well, but sometimes the end product ain't there. So,
yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. We'll get on to you are playing at 7:00 tonight, Poland against Argentina.
Yeah.
How do you see it going, man?
I mean, we're terrible. We're probably, honestly, I think we're one of the worst teams in the tournament. Our manager, Czeslaw Michnovic, terrible manager, plays really, really, really shitty. I'm sorry about swearing, but I can't describe this any other way. But I'm used to this as a Pole. I am. I'm used to this. In major tournaments, we're terrible. Absolutely terrible. The supporting cast that Lewandowski has is decent, but we hardly ever step up besides Lewandowski. He has to create sometimes, for God's sake. And the fact that Saudi Arabia outplayed us and we won that game, I was happy we won, but honest to God, it's hard to celebrate when you get outplayed by Saudi Arabia because it's like God knows what Argentina is going to do to us. Yeah. Because, again, we're not brave. Poland don't take chances. That's not how Michnovic does things. Because he was a failure. He's a failure in the Ekstraklasa in Poland. He wasn't a great manager. Legia Warszawa didn't want to keep him on. So this guy's a joke. And the Polish Federation, I could go on and on about how incompetent they are. And that goes for most federations around the world, if I'm honest. But it's just we're going to invite Argentina. We're going to invite Leo Messi. We're going to invite Lautaro Martinez. We're going to invite all these guys to try and score on us. It's only going one way. But maybe an upset can happen. I think we're getting smoked, probably 3-0, but it's just, I don't know, man. I'm pessimistic. You can call me negative or whatever, but are you guys convinced by Poland? I'm not convinced by Argentina either, by the way. But I'm not.
And I mean, it's an interesting group there in Group C because you've got Argentina, Poland, and Saudi Arabia could all be causing some issues. So it's going to be. I'm looking forward to watching that. I can only watch one game. Can't watch them both, but I'll pick one. And I'm going to watch the Argentina Poland. Kenny, I mean, we've been privileged at the moment that we can watch lots and lots of the World Cup games, and I've only missed 2 so far. I both on today. I'd split screen. I learned how to do a split screen on my TV up here today, and
2 TVs like I have. I actually had 3, but
yeah,
you spend your life watching football, which is great for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Kenny, how do you see Poland Argentina? Because I think I'm right in saying, Kenny, you thought Argentina were one of the favourites.
Yes, and I think again they're one of the teams that got physically beaten up by Saudi Arabia, especially in that second half. Outplayed as well. And I think with Argentina, the problem Argentina have got is that the supporting cast around Messi isn't strong, and Messi's not the same player. He's coming way too deep because he's not getting the pass quickly enough. and he's relying on Di Maria. Di Maria looks a shadow of the player he was 4 years ago. So you've got players who are struggling. You've got Martinez, Lautaro Martinez. He's not getting enough service because when he's making runs, instead of putting him in, they give it to Messi as well. So it's those sort of things where Argentina are dead to be got at. You know, you look at Argentina and you think, yeah, they went 36 games unbeaten. You think finally it's their year. I know for sentimental reasons people would like Messi to win it because you think a player of that stature deserves a world title and you'd rather him have it than Cristiano. But if Poland are passive against this Argentina side, they will live to regret it. They're there for the taking, Argentina. Mexico were negative and didn't have any belief and didn't have a striker. They missed Jimenez. But the thing with Poland, you still have got Lewandowski. You're going to have to move the ball a bit quicker. You're going to have to get your fullbacks into the game. And you've got to have a go at this Argentine side because you let them dominate possession, they will create chances. Whether they'll take them or not, but you shouldn't wait for that. You know, if you want to qualify for the last 16, you've got to go for the win. Because I'm telling you now, Saudi Arabia are going all out against Mexico. Mexico will have a go, but they'll get overpowered by the Saudis. If the Saudis win, then it's game over, which means Poland have got to win this game. You know, Argentina have got to win this game. You've got to treat this as like a cup final. You know, Argentina are there for the taking, but so are Poland. But you're right about Poland's record in tournaments. It's abysmal because what's happened is that your tactics ain't the greatest. You're too defensive. You goal down, and that's it. That was it. And it's decent sides. You have a wretched record against England. You've got a wretched record against Sweden. Common denominator is that England and Sweden go at you and overpower you physically. Even though you've got big lads, you're too negative. And I think that's where Poland will struggle that day. But it's now and ever for players like Lewandowski. Everyone talks about Messi's last hurrah. What about Lewandowski? He hasn't come close to even getting past the quarters in a major tournament. So this is his tournament. He scored his first World Cup goal and he got emotional about it. Well, you need to score your second and third because you're going to need a couple of goals to win this. So it's down to being brave. Obviously, I can see where you're going to go. You don't go gun-ho because it's a 90-minute game. In some cases, 100 minutes. So basically, you see how it is. But there's going to be a point, if it's 0-0, where Poland are going to have a go. They're going to have to take the game off and take risks. You don't take risks today. Argentina will beat you, and it'll beat you easily.
I would rather, to be honest, I would rather go gung ho because I know, and I'm already going into the game. I'm expecting a loss. Go out with a fucking bang. Come on, like it's just when you watch football, you want to be entertained, or you at least want to be inspired by the way. Look, some teams that have been absolutely outstanding that deserve credit. Yeah, Saudi Arabia. The fact that they have played the best football in a group containing big hitters, traditionally recognized nations in football like Mexico, Argentina, and Poland. The fact that they are playing the best football, maybe not the results, but the fact that they are the most brave, and again, it all ties in with the bravery, the mental. That's sport for you. Mental and physical ability. Who's the best? The fact that they are the best, it's half of it is you just gotta tip your hat to Saudi Arabia and their manager. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. I forget his name. I think it's René Gavard or something like that. He's
René Gavard.
Yeah, so he's proven in multiple areas. He's Mr. Worldwide. he's managed Zambia to an AFCON title and Ivory Coast to an AFCON title without Didier Drogba. So, look, that team, Saudi Arabia, they play in the best football out of Argentina, Mexico, and Poland. That's unreal. So, if Saudi Arabia can do it, why can't Poland? Why can't Mexico? Because the problem is both of those men, and I've watched Mexico a lot, obviously living in the States. Under Tata Martino, that guy has no idea what he's doing. He's got favorites. He doesn't put on the biggest mistake he made was not only Raul Jimenez not playing, no Edson Alvarez. No Edson Alvarez, no true CDM in there to sit in front of the back four, cut off passing lanes, but that's what he does very well for Ajax, both in the Champions League and in the Eredivisie. The fact that he didn't play, as an American, I laugh, but if I was Mexican, I'd cry, bro. Seriously, it's just there's also the decision. No Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord, who's been scoring goals off the bench regularly. Why is he not on? You know, it's just
he's gonna have to take a risk now because it's do and die for Mexico. You know, Mexico have drawn against Poland. They're going to need a win, and even need a win big time because you know 4 points might be enough. So they're going to have to take this. But again, I question the same situation in terms of Raúl Jiménez. The fact is that it's not the fact that he had that horrific injury 2 years ago when he played against us. The fact is he's getting injuries as well. When I think he hasn't played that much for Wolves, and one of the things that I hate about major tournaments is that sometimes the big name players can be a bit selfish. I know, you know, they need to be safe for themselves. They need to save their squad. You only have to look at a lot of tournaments, and even some of these tournaments. Some players are blatantly injured, and yet they're going to play. You know, we're talking about Harry Kane. He's injured, but he's
shoving him out there.
Yeah, but against Senegal, against a physical side, he's got a decision to make.
He's going to get hurt
because physically, he's going to have to be on the front foot, try and take the game away from Senegal pretty quickly, and then get Harry Kane off, and assume that
you're subbing on. Callum Wilson, who's an injury-prone striker. I love Callum Wilson. But you're subbing on an injury-prone striker. So,
but the thing is, he's so vital because the thing of Harry Kane is that Harry Kane's not the player that he was 4 years ago. He's better now. Since he's gone with Mourinho, you have to play him because you know if he's scoring goals, he's got a good passing range where he puts in the sort of like the through pass or play through the line, and plus he's a good cross of the ball. So in that respect, if he's not scoring, he's
last night. To Rashford, he made it out as that pass. That was class. Hey, I just want to quickly answer this question from Stan because we obviously know the Cronkies watch the show, and it's good to see you, Stan. Just to change it around, should we sack Arteta now or wait? Well, my opinion of this is no. We're top of the league, 5 points clear, so I don't believe. And it's the old adage, isn't it? Don't fix what ain't broke. At the moment, we've got into this World Cup with Arsenal, doing good, looking good, playing well, and we'll be back. I think we've got a couple of friendlies, one against Juventus, and then it's Boxing Day, West Ham. So, Steve, I will be asking you a couple of questions in a minute about Newcastle, but do you think it's the right time? I mean, I don't see why Arteta should be sacked. I will say this. If he does not challenge in April, or Arsenal are not challenging in April for the Premier League and the Europa Cup, he's gone. He's done. His time's up. Finished.
Has to be. You're fucking Arsenal, right? Like that's the thing that I don't get. Why do I, as a neutral, I had to learn when I got into football in 2014 about all these clubs from England, France, Germany, Spain, wherever. Who are the big hitters? Who are the big clubs with the biggest fan base, the biggest expectations, biggest trophy cabinet, the history, whatnot. And Arsenal, I throughout the years, I've just always assumed that you guys were a massive club. Sometimes your fans just, I don't know, they don't demand the best. And to be honest, it's like, well, what's the point then? You're just going to get served what? Something that you used to have amazing 5-course meals, and now you're eating deli from the supermarket? Like, get the fuck out of here. Come on, man. Like, yes. And that's the thing. Arteta has had so much time. You know what? As a neutral, when I thought you guys should have sacked him, Olympiacos for me. When you guys screwed that up, I'm like, this guy ain't ever gonna be it. Just sack him. And you know what? It's worked out so far, but he's like, you know what it's like with Arteta? It's like a dog on a leash, and it's like, you know what? Fine, I'll let you off the leash. We can walk around the neighborhood, but as soon as you start getting into it with someone else, I'm putting you right back on the leash because I don't trust you. It's the same thing with Arteta. As soon you're doing well right now, good boy. But as soon as you screw up, nope, gone. See ya. Because eventually you're gonna have to move on from this project because it's Arsenal, for God's sake. If Newcastle, if Newcastle are progressing at this speedy rate, why the hell can't Arsenal? It comes down to your owners not being ambitious. It comes down to the fan base accepting the crap. It comes down to the players not understanding that they play for Arsenal Football Club, arguably a top 6 club in the world, used to be at least.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's just my take on it. But
Kenny, we've talked about this so many times, haven't we? I know what you're going to say, but let's see what you think.
Well, I think what's happening is that the thing about it is that the train's already left the destination. I think I think people who are going to want Mikel to be replaced, they're running for a train that's left the depot, and I think that's the thing, and that's basically what's happened. I think what's happening now is that people, the Cronkies, especially Josh, Edu, are going to be probably feel very pleased with themselves because they're going to feel vindicated that they've won their projects working in their eyes, and the fact they're giving the manager, who's I'd say the poster boy of their project, a better time. So they're going to feel really vindicated. The fact that there's an approval rating in terms of fans coming through the turnstiles, fans are happy, and the results are all going really well. But the fact is that now he's got his own team, because that's what everyone's been saying.
No more fucking excuses.
Exactly. There can't be any excuses at all.
None.
None at all, because the simple reason is that, he's going to have to get a couple of more bodies in terms of like strengthening the squad. But those are standards that we're going to keep him to. And if they fall short, we're gonna complain again, because I think the reason, Steve, what you say about Arsenal fans is a problem is that there's an industry now of Arsenal fans but generally, especially now social media has come on the horizon, that's extent that they got a platform where they can be listened to. And what they do is that whenever you're got a platform where people can listen to you, you go on like a politician. You don't really, you have your own opinion, but you want to sort of test the water, dip your toe in the water to see, well, what's going to work, what's more popular, what does the majority think. And I think with Arsenal fans is that if the majority have got an approval rating for Mikel, then they're going to go with it because they want to be seen as good fans. They want to be seen as
themselves. Think about how they can advance their career, their social media status.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Arsenal fans as well who do own media channels as well, to the extent that the golden nugget for them, and maybe this sort of like the Willy Wonka's ticket, is not getting into Charlie to chocolate factory. The chocolate factory is getting in the ground and being in a sort of like journalist section at the Emirates, or because they're in the journalist section, they get down to the press conferences, which is near the dressing rooms, and get to ask Mikel a question. That's their dream. So they're not going to upset the apple cart. There's a guy who gets voiceover work. He's not going to upset the apple cart. Let's face it. If you want to get on Sky Sports, BT Sports, Talk Sport,
you got to be a shill.
Well, you have to, because simple reason is that they don't want the. In terms of ranting and controversy, that's another train that's left the depot as well. 4 or 5 years ago, when you had people ranting, blah blah, that made good TV, but it doesn't make good TV now. People want cheerleaders for the club. They want people to be positive. So I only can say that at the moment, the approval ratings are very high for Mikel, and the people who've backed him think, oh yeah, we told you so, but you and I know they backed him because it was they think it's the right thing to do, because I think maybe fans got exhausted because of what happened with Wenger in and Wenger out, where there were divisions in the fan base, online divisions and divisions in pubs and workplaces, to the extent that some people don't speak to each other anymore, and I don't want that kind of hassle.
I think that's a very, very valid point, Kenny.
Absolutely.
I just want to say, Chike, thank you very much, mate, for the kind donation. USA all the way, he's saying. Good luck with that one. I actually did on Lee's channel, I think the other night with Kenny, I did shout out that USA and Ghana could be wild cards on this. Not to win, but they could cause some serious upset.
Good pick.
We'll see how it goes. And Ian says, if we finish fourth and no trophies, will they still keep him? Well,
fuck yeah.
My opinion is no. He's had his time. He's got his own team, the team he wanted. So if he doesn't win anything, he's got to be sacked. Sorry, his time will be up.
I only said that because it says will they.
Yeah, the Cronkies.
I think the Cronkies might keep him if that happens. They should.
It wouldn't be at all surprised, Steve. But in my mind, if Arsenal Football Club, and let's get it right, Edu made the statement. It's all about trophies.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't get trophies, then he has to be sacked.
Well, the thing is, Jez, I think what's happening is that, if you look at if you go up to sort of M1 and get into the M62 in Manchester, you look at the Glazers. They budget for the top four, and I think this Arsenal probably doing it as well. We could say, without being any churlish, that the club, i.e. the Cronkies, think that what we're doing now is beyond their wildest dreams and ahead of schedule. Hence the fact. But the thing is that because there's a high approval rating, they're going to feel that they have to spend the money. But in terms of finishing fourth, it was never good enough for me when Arsene was in charge. I wasn't intimidated by Man City's money. I wasn't intimidated by. I think I'm echoing. Can you hear me echoing?
Yeah.
Sorry, that might be me. I've had a few. Wait, hold on one sec. Sorry. Go on.
Hello. I'll speak a bit quickly, but if you think about how the Arsenal were doing under Arsene Wenger, I was never intimidated by Man City and Chelsea's money. I thought it was just competed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where.
Hold on, let me go on mute.
I'll put myself on mute.
I don't know. It's not.
I don't know if it's me or not. I'm not sure.
All right, let me speak now. Hello.
Yeah, no echo.
No echo. Yeah. So, as I was saying before, I think what's happening is that Arsenal fans have been programmed into finishing the top four because simple reason is that originally our rivals Tottenham, thought the top four was the golden nugget, and then they realised, well, hang on, we're quite a good side here. We might win but we can actually, we're a bit better than that. And I think that's the mindset that Arsenal have to have. I'm sure they're telling everyone who officially that it's all about getting the top four, but I think the players have to be a bit ambitious now and realise, off Man City, there's a vacancy, in order to challenge them because Liverpool are in transition. Man United, until the Glazers go, they're never going to challenge for that league. Sorry to say that, Man United fans who watch this. And Newcastle are probably the only ones who I think, in my opinion, if Newcastle get it right off the pitch, they're going to challenge. They win their first trophy, they're not going to stop.
Oh, yeah, no,
Well, that actually really, that's a great lead in, Kenny. Steve, as our new guest, first time on my channel, and thank you again, mate, for coming on.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Let's have a little chat about Newcastle. You're sitting third in the Premier League, looking good, looking rosy. Tell me what your prediction is, and I'll come to Kenny. What's your prediction of where Newcastle will go this year in the Premier League? And we talk about the FA Cup. Yeah,
I love the FA Cup.
Mate, it's a passion of my heart, the FA Cup. But
it's too bad this generation doesn't see the value in it. Again, and I feel like, to just go on this little off subject, as I said, you guys have been football fans for years and years and years, longer than I've been alive, any of that. But I only got into this in 2014, and so I had to learn everything. And the FA Cup for me it's just brilliant. I love the concept of it. It could be a pub team. You could play anyone you want in that competition if you just keep winning and winning and win. It's just the history of it all. It's an incredible competition. It really, really is. So, but in regards to Newcastle, I said beginning of the season 7th, and I think we will win the FA Cup. I think we will, because I think this team, from what it showed me last year, we can go to big teams and get results. And then we followed it up this year. We can go away to Spurs and smoke them. Honest to God, smoke them. We outplayed it for about 60% of that game. When we scored the goal, it was us, all us. And the Man United, we got a draw. We usually get battered when we go to Old Trafford. We've had 2 wins this century at Old Trafford at all competitions. And usually it's 4-1, 3-0. There's been a 6-0, a 5-1. Like, we usually get clobbered when we go to Old Trafford usually. So, again, another positive result. The Chelsea win, the 1-0. It wasn't the prettiest, but you know what? I'm fine with not playing pretty all the time, because I know Eddie Howe's ideal is to always play very progressive, attacking, brave football. So sometimes there will be some grinded out wins. But that's also another strength of this team. We can win in multiple ways. We can win games away to Spurs 2-1. We can grind out ugly 1-0s. We can go to Fulham and just take them to they're our bitch, essentially 5-1. We can dominate games. We can outscore the 4-1 win away to Southampton. It wasn't even our best performance. We got 4 goals. So I never felt this way about Newcastle in the 5, coming up on 6 years now that I've been supporting them. I really have. This is incredible. And so I think after I have a video on Newcastle Fans TV, which is the channel I'm a part of. And I said that I think it was after the Spurs win. I made a video saying I think we'll get 4th. And I could list off about 10 solid reasons why I think we can get 4th. Because honestly, I think this is just like with Arsenal. It's time to strike while the iron's hot. Because honestly, when I look at the top 6 outside of Man City and Arsenal, they've got a lot going on. They're inconsistent. They're in Europe, so that's extra games. They'll probably go deep in the cup. We might too, but that cancels out because they also play in Europe. I think we've got a lot going for us. And the fact that we've also off the pitch, like you said, the big part about Newcastle is the off the pitch. We've signed a huge advertisement deal with Monster Energy Drink. The Saudi Air, which will be our main kid sponsor next season. That's going to be plugged in a bunch of money. So I think we're on an upward trajectory. I don't see where it stops. And you know what? And honestly, I want to preface this too, because if we finish 5th or 6th or 7th, like I predicted, that's still a hell of a lot better than whatever the fuck I went through for the 6 years before this under Mike Ashley, because that was crap. I don't ever want to go through that again. It was terrible.
You're never going to go through that. You're never going to go through that.
Oh my God.
It's
terrible.
It's a good point Mole Muckery Hendon Good is making. I don't think it'll. I mean, he says I've got a feeling.
You never know. To be fair,
Newcastle win the title. I don't think this year. I'll put my neck on the line here and say that Newcastle will be competing for that title in the next 2 years.
I think next season, Jess. I think next season. I think
if we get this January transfer, look at our transfer windows. Look at our 2 transfer windows. They've been 9 out of 10s.
Yeah.
Seriously, the only bad transfer we've made, and you can even debate that, is Chris Wood. Because guess what? Chris Wood might not be banging in a bunch of goals, but he started for us in wins, and he did his job.
It gets you a little bit extra. It gives you that sort of time.
He draws center. The brilliant thing. Sorry to cut you off. The brilliant thing about Chris Wood, he draws 2 center backs immediately. Frees up 6 other guys. His presence alone.
You know, it is with Newcastle. I think Newcastle games against Newcastle are going to dictate where the title's going to go. It's going to dictate who finishes in the top 4 because they're. I know that if you go to St James's Park and win, then I think if you're Arsenal, Man City have already gone there, should have lost, but it was a 3-3. We got to go there. We got to play Newcastle in the third. That's going to be a massive test because they could play us respect, or they could just think let's have a go because they have got the players now. There's no Steve Bruce isn't there. Eddie, it's not like last season when they.
You're right. He's managing Poland.
Yeah, it might as well be. Well, he's just lost his job with West Brom. But if you think about Newcastle in terms of like the results, Liverpool got to go there if they're still interested in the top 4. Man United have got to go there. Tottenham have got to go there. Newcastle have got to go to Man City's ground. Newcastle got to play us home and away, so they're going to dictate a lot of where the destinations are because no team wants. Exactly. No team wants to play Newcastle at the moment because simple reason is that they're playing with so much confidence. They've got top class players, top class internationals now. And then with the money they have, if they get the right people in the right positions and they start winning a trophy, they're going to be so difficult to contain because simple reason is that at the moment they're not breaking. There's no FFP rules for them to break. So I'd be surprised. I'd be stunned if Newcastle ain't challenged for the title next year. I'd be stunned if they don't win anything this season. Stunned.
What about? I was going to ask you guys. What about this season? Because I think I changed my prediction. I think we'll finish 4th.
There's a good chance. You've got you whether day you can buy in January if you want because you've got the money to do it, and you will get good players. Good players will come because. If you see players like Guimaraes, you see players like San Maximan, you've got Wilson there, you've got Trippier, you've got really good experience.
Mickey Alvarez just shot out of nowhere.
Yeah. There's no reason why players won't want to go to Newcastle. The London thing might be an issue for me.
Absolutely. No, the thing that also is so impressive, gotta talk about Eddie Howe. Have to. He's improved nearly every single player on the squad. Nearly everyone. Even Sean Longstaff is starting to play a decent part in this team, and I don't really rate him that highly, but he's doing a great job, to be fair to him. He's making it difficult to drop him. Obviously, we will need to if we want to win a Champions League, but to be honest, I could see Longstaff being a part of a team this year where we win an FA Cup or something. He could play a big part in that. And thank God we have a kind draw against Sheffield Wednesday in the FA Cup. You guys got Oxford. But the good thing for us is that either one of Man City or Chelsea, they're out. We know Spurs will bottle it. They ain't making a final. So that's another one you could probably cross off the list. Liverpool usually make a deep run, so I'll keep them off for now. I think Man United, they just don't have the squad, so I'll count them out. So that's 3 out of the top 6, I think. It just seems like with Newcastle, everything just seems to be falling in line for us to do something really, really spectacular this season. And honestly, and like I said, I want to preface this. If we finish 7th, again, that's fine because I think there might be a drop off. There might be. So but ultimately, the season is a success. Honestly, it already is because it's so much better than what I've ever seen out of Newcastle with my own eyes following throughout a season. But yeah, I'm just so proud, and I'm happy to actually, be Newcastle. I'm proud, man. Seriously, it's amazing.
What I like, the thing is, I don't know what it is. I always had an affinity with Newcastle. I think the team, the fan base is unbelievable.
Yeah.
For all the crap that they've been through over the years, that stadium is filled week in, week out.
Regardless of what league we're playing in.
Yeah. When you were in the Championship, it was
five.
I mean, I've been there. It's an awesome place. Apart from the fact you stick all your weight
you're way up
in the goals, which apparently two very good friends of mine who are Geordies said it's because they do that because of all the people in wheelchairs that go and watch Newcastle. No, I don't believe that. I think they just want to piss us all off and stick us up there, and you can't see anything. So, yeah, I mean, Kenny, Newcastle, I think they're going to be a problem.
100%. I can't see Newcastle not being a problem because of the fact is they got some excellent footballers, and in the make, and end of the day, the money's there, and the thing about everyone thinks that if you've got money, automatically that you're gonna win trophy. It doesn't work like that. If
Nottingham Forest, by that logic, should be
exactly. Wolves as well. If you go back with Jack Haywood as well, the fact is that you have to you have to have the right people in place. You have to have the right director of football, the right transfer contacts, and you have to get good players. Man City and Chelsea over the years didn't win because of the money. The money helped, but if Man City and Chelsea bought badly, they wouldn't have been competing now. If you say Man City and Chelsea just done well for the money, well, hang on here. Look at the players they bought. They bought top class players, but they bought leaders. That's why they done well, and that's why they dominated. Yeah, because they had good players. I think people who maybe Arsenal fans who feel bitter, embittered, and think, they feel that that we got a magic wand. It doesn't work like that. We've had money, but we don't spend it wisely. So that's one of the reasons why we don't compete. Don't think for 1 minute that if you have loads of money, you get cabbages behind the scenes and cabbage patch players, you're going to dominate. It's not going to work. You have to buy well, and that's the thing. Newcastle are buying well, and that's why I'm completely confident that Newcastle will compete. I can't see it any other way. I can't see it.
You see us as a top 6 lock for this year?
Well, the thing is, you've got to aim higher than that because I don't think your owners are spending money and that amount of money and spending all that money in infrastructure for you to finish thing. I think that what's happened is that the money you spend, that's sort of money you spend when you want to accelerate the process. You don't want to keep it quick. I don't know anyone who's spent the amount of money that Newcastle are going to spend the money where they're not competing in the second year. That's the situation.
We're spending our money takeover-wise better than Man City has.
Definitely. But Man City, they had a bit of an evolving period. But when Man City won their first trophy after 35 not winning anything against Stoke, the FA Cup, that's it. They never stopped. Same with Chelsea when they beat Liverpool in 2005, didn't stop. Teams like Newcastle, that's what Newcastle going to emulate. Teams with serious money, with the foundations in the right place, with good players. Once they win one trophy, it doesn't stop because simple reason is that the mentality changes. And that's the thing. Your mentality will change when you win your first trophy. I can guarantee you that.
And like you said, players will want to go to that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like players are going to be like, shit, I don't want to miss out on the trip to for the rocket before it takes off. That's it,
100%. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. And Tom says here, I'm surprised how quick things have turned around for Newcastle. It's a very good point. It even took City longer than this to be competing for Europe after their takeover. Yeah. And I'll go say, Tom, if that's a Gibson ES 355 with a Bigsby, that is a great guitar. If that is a real guitar, if that's yours, mate, you got a bit of kit there, my friend.
Sorry, Jess. Sorry, but you know what? The common denominator when City's thing is that, remember, Chelsea, when City got bought by the Sheikh Mansour and like bought by the Middle East owners. Remember, Chelsea was still strong. Remember, Newcastle City was bought in 2008. 2 years later, Chelsea won the title at Cantor. Sir Alex Ferguson was still there. And you think about Sir Alex Ferguson, what he did is that whilst he was there, he saw off the challenge of Moneybag City and Chelsea, albeit they had better infrastructure and better play, probably slightly better players than Man United. But Man United still has Sir Alex Ferguson, so they can still, get these players. But if you look at Chelsea, they're on transition because they've got a whole new ethos with Todd Bowley, and Bramwich isn't there. It's only Man City with the same sort of ethos. Arsenal trying to do it organically. So, if Newcastle don't accelerate the process, then they're missing a trick here, because really and truly there's a vacancy there, because they better get a move on, because Man City, Man United and Liverpool are for sale. And if they get the right owners with their pedigree, it's going to be hard for a lot of teams competing with Newcastle.
Yeah. Now I have a question or actually, do you want to read this comment out first? Then I got a question for you guys.
Lynn here said, I'm a Geordie, and although I support Arsenal, their fans have always been their 12th man. Win, lose, or draw. Absolutely. But what is the one downfall our club has? There are some fans who want the manager out. I mean, really?
No, I think we spoke to Lynn before. Lynn's watches a lot of our shows, and we have sort of discussed with Lynn. And the thing is that the thing is, Lynn, like we said loads of times, we've been starved for success, and that there's always going to be people like ourselves who don't have any sort of affinity or patience, or don't want to be journalists, don't want to be get on Sky Sports, or thinking, well, hang on here. We think that the Arsenal fans, you included, should own your status as a big club. And I think because we're a status of a big club, we have to demand these standards. And top four isn't good enough for me. I don't think top four was ever good enough, and it shouldn't be good enough now. We've got the team, we've got a chance of challenge the title, and this has to be the norm. Set of standards. It's not going to be easy. With if Man United get bought, Newcastle already been bought, and Man City have still got their money, and obviously with if Liverpool get bought. But the thing is that we're either a big club, we're not. If we're not a big club, we should just say, all right, then we then maybe we've got to change our ambitions. But I just think that Arsenal fans in general have to be ambitious. I know. Obviously, Lynn, you've been around a long time. You've seen loads of silverware. I'm greedy. I want it all every year, and I think Arsenal fans should be able to demand that.
It's fun to win. Yeah. It's fun. That's part of what football is. It's winning. It's also going out with your mates and all that stuff, and making friendships that last a lifetime and all that stuff. But ultimately, that's a big part of it. You want to see your team win. Exactly. So,
well, Stan says, I wish Josh would come in the chat sometimes, but he doesn't. Stan says, if we don't win the league, we should sack Arteta and get a big name manager. Yeah, absolutely. I think we've been, Lee, Kenny, and I, and various other YouTubers have been saying this for forever. And I'll put it out there. I wanted Arteta out the day he joined. Simple facts. At the moment, he's doing a job. If he does not, and I'll make the statement again, if he does not challenge for the Premier League this time in April next year, as the season's coming to the end, and if we're out of the FA Cup, and if we're out, or we haven't challenged for the Europa League, he's got to go. He's been given everything he needs. He's been given millions of pounds. He's got the players he wanted. He's got rid of the troublesome players that were at Arsenal. And okay, I'll go with that. I will go along with that. I think Ozil was a pain in the arse. I think the fact that Aubameyang in his latter time was a pain in the arse. He was disrespectful to the club. And he had that problem in his previous club. And he's now at Chelsea. I think he's crap. I think his time is done.
Yeah.
But we're going to round it up in a minute. Kenny, give me your view on. I'm going to just bring this one up. It's getting to the time of year again where Arsenal are linked to just about every other player in the world. I see today that there's this fella Enzo
Fernandez.
Yeah.
Benfica.
Is that right? The way
Yeah. Player, yeah.
Why is Arsenal linked to all these players?
Because everyone knows because everyone knows that the squad's thin. Everyone, you speak to anyone, you speak to all Arsenal fans, they know the squad's thin. And, it's a major concern. I was with a journalist coming out of Brentford away where his first words to me was, I think your squad's a bit too thin. And he's a gooner.
Yes.
So, and I think that's the situation is that there's nothing, if we go deep into, like the title race, we go deep into the Europa League, I'm assuming there's going to be loads of games where we're going to lose form. And let's not face it, we could argue, although I don't, but you could argue injuries cost us the top four because the squad was way too thin. Now, one of the things we did last January, was that we concentrated more on outgoings and balancing the books when we probably could have got a body in. We said that we were going for Vlahovic and he was going to do, and that it was either Vlahovic or no one. We didn't get him. He went to Juventus. We don't know what's going on with him in Juventus. He's right now he's the understudy to Mitrovic of Fulham when he's playing at Juventus. But Mitrovic has played a good season. So it's one of the things where Arsenal now know what they've got to do now. They have. I'm sure Mikel knows that if anything happened to like Thomas Partey, that's probably our title challenge because he is the midfield. You can't say anything different. Even fans of Granite will have to concede that Thomas Partey is our most vital player. And if he's out of the team, then we will struggle to win football matches. And even with Thomas Partey, if he's off form and we don't play well, then there'll be teams that who are going to raise their game against us and prevail. Remember, we still got to go White Lane, Man City, Newcastle, Anfield, Everton as well. Grounds where yes, but let's face it, we got nothing from those grounds. In fact, if my memory serves me right, we lost to all of them. So that's immediately about 15 points we need to get.
Yeah.
Now, those teams, if we're playing them,
Newcastle away.
Yeah,
I really won't fancy going up to St James's Park.
I fancy us. Here's what I think will happen in regards to that. I think we'll win the home leg. We'll lose away. I think that.
I don't think exactly that. I don't think exactly that's the situation. I think that.
Oh yeah, it's going to be good. Yeah.
If you want to win trophies and you want to get that top four, you can't be passive. You got to carry on playing that attacking football you've been playing.
Absolutely.
Remember you went to Anfield and you had a go. And you lost to a 98th minute winner. You went at Old Trafford, had a go, even though it was 0-0. You've got to have that same mindset.
Yeah.
Again, if you think, when you come to the Emirates, because at the end of the day, we're in a good position, we're playing really well, but look what's happened. Our momentum's gone because, we haven't played a competitive league game for 2 months because of the World Cup. So you don't know what state some of our players are going to come back.
Yeah.
So you know, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's the equivalent of 0-0 when we start our game against West Ham, because everyone's in the same boat. You know,
yeah.
the season starts again.
It does. I'm going to wrap this up, guys, because we're going for an hour. Steve, where can we find you, my friend? Shout out your links.
Yeah, you can find me on my personal YouTube, which I use sometimes. It's Strasbourg Steve, and then I'm on Newcastle Fans TV. I do every single watch along for every Newcastle game. So yeah, that's pretty much what that's what I'm on. So yeah, about
Nice
it.
one,
Really.
mate. Thanks for coming on tonight.
No, thank you. Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. You'll come on again, I hope.
Oh yeah.
And the legend that is Mr. Kenny Ken, where can we find you, my friend?
Well, yeah, I've got two handles. I've got a Twitter handle at KennyKen1972 and Instagram at KennyKen1972. I'm more active on Instagram because, I think I've developed new sort of like, I don't know, it's probably corny to say it, but a new audience where people, there is more interaction. The interaction on Twitter is so bad now to the extent that I'm sure there's a lot of people who follow me and mute me. I don't have that problem in thing. And I think, I think Twitter's very like policed, and that you get flogged or cancelled if you put a joint out of place. Instead, like I suppose Instagram's fresh as a daisy, and it's a better class of punter for me. And the stuff I want to put out, like me reels and me things, it gets more traction. People watch it to the extent that I know they wouldn't give it a buzz on Instagram, on Twitter.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on Twitter myself.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm not interested in it. I mean, it's quite interesting. Steve and Kenny, I set the little Instagram group chat up that we all comment in and everything like that. It's quite good actually that the group that's in there, because you get quite a varied perspective on the World Cup, Arsenal. Now, Steve, you've come in. You're Newcastle, more than welcome, obviously, and it's all good. There's no idiots in that, because
you know what?
Get involved on chat groups that got absolute idiots that are just out there to troll you and
fuck all that. Yeah.
No, you can't do it. WhatsApp groups. You've got, the thing about it is that all of you guys laid down the law immediately. You said this, what you wanted from the group. You said you want football talk, no promotions, and that's what you're getting. You've set the boundaries. If you don't set boundaries, then you are going to get someone who's going to get bullied in those groups. Someone who's going to, promote themselves rather than ask and inquire about the health.
Actually want to talk with people, which is the point of a group chat.
Yeah. So
I mean, there's the other one. I mean, there was one that I was a member of on Insta, which got ruined. It was a good group chat on Insta, but it got ruined by one particular person who just kept posting up their links, and the guy that was running it warned him 3 or 4 times, don't do this. This is not what the group's about. It's about a chat. And that's why when I set my one up, I said from day one, this is not for posting up your show, your links for your YouTube or Insta or Twitter.
I might have accidentally done that once, by the way. Sorry.
I think what's that was there. Look, when you're YouTube.
No, it's all right. I mean, it's when it gets constant. It gets constant. Constant. And, one person has done it. It's not you, Steve. One person has. And I said, look, if you do it again, I'm kicking you out.
Yeah.
This is about, we're talking about, well, you can talk about anything. You can talk about making a bloody Christmas cake if you want. But
the group chat. Not a, hey, look at me. Yeah.
That's what it's not about that. I don't post my channel out on there. I don't do anything. It's all about your opinion on football. And I've said to people, if you want to join, but don't post out your stuff because I'm not going to promote
constantly. Yeah.
It's not about that. But anyway, guys, Kenny, Steve, it's been an honour to have you on as a first-time guest. Thank you very much for your honest football views.
You're always going to get that from me.
I now know who to turn to with all the European football information, players. I know you've got a wealth of knowledge. I know that, and I appreciate it. Ken, thank you, my friend.
Enjoy myself, mate.
And tonight, 7:00 in 15 minutes, we've got more football. Come on, Poland. I'm supporting Poland tonight.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, if they don't turn there, they're going to end up like Denmark because their day, mate. There's no reset button. You know what I mean? When you're on that plane home, the plane ain't going to turn back.
Yeah, totally.
I hope we leave the Polish Steve Bruce out in Qatar. I hope we do, bro. That guy's
great. Anthony Burton, good evening from America, Jez. Hope you're well. Good up to you, my friend, and hope USA do very well. I've got them out as a wild card, personally. I don't think they'll win the World Cup, but I've got them as a wild card.
We could cause an upset or two.
Yeah, and Ghana. I think Ghana will be a bit of a naughty one.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for tonight, people. And I'm looking forward to the football tonight. I said to you, Kenny, didn't I? I've never been, I can't remember, since Italia 90. I've been this interested in a World Cup. Seriously. And I'm
just come at the right time, really.
I think I've got time on my hands. I've retired and I can sit here and I can sit for hours watching football, pissing the wife off because she gets young.
I think that's for all of us. But I think what it is that the thing with the World Cup is that we basically got no choice, have we? You know, it's been put. We knew it's going to be during this season. I think what's happening is that just as you get into it, it ends, and then you think, "Oh, I wish I got in from the beginning." But you know, one of the things that I think that what's made a World Cup is that the Arabic, Middle Eastern countries and North African countries, the fact that they've been quite very strong this World Cup has actually helped the World Cup. If they were poor, I think people would just think, well, what's the point of watching this? This, you know, this
the
rubbish.
upsets make it intriguing, essentially. Argentina won all their games. Wow, why? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. We'll call it there, people. Next Wednesday, I think, Kenny, 6:30. I think we said.
Yeah, the thing about it is, it's my wife's birthday next week, so I've got to come back here on that because I think she might put a block on that. But yeah,
I could be the substitute if you want.
It's
There's no sub for Kenny, Ken. I actually should take that back. To be fair,
no. What's happening is that it's Jez likes you, and I enjoyed myself as well. You're no substitute. Everyone's welcome on the show.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Steve. If we do the show next Wednesday, I'm actually taking the wife for a meal in London, so should be back by 5:30. Normally do a show 5:30 on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I did say to Lee and Kenny, can we do it 6:30? If we can't, then we can't. It is what it is. But mate,
all good.
Steve, you're welcome. Thank you. You talk facts, and we'll get you on whenever we can. So, Lee and Kenny, I'll talk with you and Lee offline and
definitely,
see what we can. If we can't. It's not a problem.
Yeah, it's just it's her birthday comes once a year because I did tell her we do 5:30.
Happy wife, happy life.
No, she said. I said, look, I'll do a podcast if we could do it at 5:30, but if it's a bit later, then don't. If you don't rush back, still do it because Lee's brilliant and Lee's brings a lot of traction.
Well, Lee wants to do it this week, and I mean, we should be home by 4:30, but with what the train situation is at this point in time in this country, who knows? You know what I'm saying? So
No, it's they're striking at the moment here anyway.
yeah, it's a nightmare. So we'll see how it happens. I mean, if we'll get into it anyway. But
We'll play it by ear. Yeah.
we'll talk about it. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for smashing the likes and subs. And Poland, come on, Poland. Take care, everyone.
Peace.
See you guys soon.